Hi, everybody. Welcome back to In the Company of Cards. I'm Erica Robinson, and I hope everybody in the States who celebrated had a good Thanksgiving. I hope there were some important conversations had, and hope you're recovering from your food comas. And welcome back. So I know you all like the predictive reading, and so I'm going to do some predictive reading today about some issues that are going on in the world and in the country. And I think there's maybe five things that I want to talk about today. For those of you who don't know, we've grown again. We're at, I think, 17.2 thousand subscribers. That's, again, crazy. I say that every time. But thank you so much again for liking, sharing uh, the videos and the channel. And so let's get to it. All right. So the first thing that I thought I wanted to look at is the fact that Australia has just instituted a ban on social media for everyone under the age of 16. I mean, radical, right? Um, I'm curious to see how that will go. How will that ban affect, let's say, Australian society moving forward? I mean, is it a leaf that the rest of us should be taking from that book? Someone who taught for many years, I'll tell you the weirdest thing about social media was that in the old days when I first began teaching, the halls were always alive and loud with the sounds of students, you know. And then the social media era came about, and the halls would be crowded still with kids, but they would be dead silent. And why were they dead silent? Because everyone was on their phone. So that you could have groups of kids sitting next to each other on the floor, during their break or their lunchtime, and no conversation was exchanged, but they were all talking to each other on their phones. uh, they kind of lost the ability to engage in actual real life, in the flesh conversation. And, if the brain has, synapses that it bridges and pathways that it makes, you wonder whether over time those pathways get kind of overgrown with, I don't know, foliage because people forget how to have actual conversations with themselves, with each other. So I want to look at this ban. I just think it's really interesting, and I'd like to see how will it affect Australian society moving forward. So I think that Spirit knows that it's a ban. So I don't need to look for a card that would signify the ban, but I am going to use the card that stands for social media, and that is the stars. And I'm going to have that be my focus card. And my intention is to look at how the social media ban on usage by uh, people under the age of 16 will affect Australian culture moving forward. Okay. Okay, so remember that we're looking for the star. I checked the bottom of the deck, it's not there. So, but here it is. Okay, so this stands for the social media ban in Australia on people younger than 16. And I'm going to pull some clarifiers, I think. Um, yeah, maybe. a couple on each card. Okay, interesting. So the original line of five is the dog, the older woman. Here's the social media ban, my scales card that I added to the system, and clouds. Okay, let's see what we get. So, you know, this is the card for the friend, the helper. It's a great card. It's a card of caretaking and safekeeping, etc. I can mirror it with the last card, which is clouds. So for a while, it will be sort of um, doubtful whether this will do anything or not. But here, with this card here at the beginning, it's coming from a good place, as they say. Um, I'm sure people are not thrilled with this, and people don't know what it's going to mean. Okay, so the second card is the woman, and I'm just going to say that it feels um, very like a mom, you know, um, restricting usage of something, as parents do, as moms do. So I think that's that. The star, of course, is the card in the center. And I like that my scales card showed up because things are in Australia, as they are everywhere in terms of social media, kind of unbalanced. I gave the example of what would go on in the high school that I taught in, where kids were just silent. It was eerie. It was eerie because it's not normal for young people to be so quiet because their heads are so in their machines. So this is an act meant to by the maternal powers that be, I'm going to say, to balance things out, to balance the way people communicate with each other, to balance the role of devices in their society. But again, we have the clouds at the end. People are like, wait, what? No. So let's see what the clarifiers are. So I just pulled two clarifiers. The first, this is our sort of well-meaning, caretaking intention in this ban, and we have it clarified by the young man and the child. And I think this is interesting. I mean, I think that um, one of the things that social media does is it makes young people too grown too fast, if you know what I mean. And this will allow young people to be kids again, you know, to play outside, to play board games, to read books, to experience boredom, from which, by the way, creativity can spring. And I think that that was the intention from taking people to becoming too grown too soon in the wrong kind of ways and bringing them back to a simpler time so that they can enjoy their childhoods. Okay, the second card was this mom card, right? Um, no, you can't go on your device. Um, Give it to me. I'll give it back to you when I feel like it. Okay, that's how it's gonna feel. I mean, people are not gonna like it. But again, remember that the card is also the card for a clever woman. The snake slithers in mugwort, which is this healing plant. It's an action meant to heal, um, but it's going to be felt as being heavy-handed. A heavy-handed use of government is how it's perceived right now. So in the center, we have the star, and this is the social media ban. And the clarifiers for it are the birds and the fish. I really like this because without social media as I'm going to say, impediment, frankly, And it's ironic and it's oxymoronic that a device or a system that connects us to people is the same system that disconnects us from people, right? So, what will be the result of this ban? People will talk to each other more. People will share their feelings more because they're talking face to face, you know? They're talking in real time. They're talking in person. They're talking on the phone, whatever it is. This will increase people's connections, their ability to communicate about real feelings. So that's good. My scales card is the fourth card, remember, and that's sort of about how to achieve balance. How do how do we keep technology as something that works for us rather than overwhelming us and be against us, kind of. So the clarifiers are the anchor and the ring. I mean, okay, not for nothing, as they used to say in Jersey where I lived. Um, uh, you know, people will find ways to use it still. But I also think that I like this. The country needs to be, and all countries do, but Australia is the brave one to do it first. They need to be anchored in something. They need to be anchored in understanding what right sizing technology in our society means. I mean, this is great. This is sort of the ultimate in wokeness, not pretending that it's all going to be okay, just paying no attention to the problem, but really saying, no, this balance is an issue. This imbalance is an issue, and trying to get things anchored in the best possible way. Um, and then we have the ring, and I think they're going to have to really work hard to stay committed to this because there will be backsliding and resistance to it and people trying to find ways around it, because that's just human nature. But I think they're committed to finding a good rebalance in their society. I think it's great. And what's so interesting is here we have the clouds. This is people saying, I don't know about this. This doesn't sound that good to me. I don't think this is going to work. Well, over time, positive change will result that will be long term. They are planting good seeds to grow a healthy tree. This is the card for health in all forms: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. Cutting off internet access, social media, not so much internet, but social media access to people under 16 will improve mental health, emotional health. Because right now things are muddled, right? Again, people don't know how to talk to each other. It's very easy to hide behind a screen and say mean things. Um, and those mean things can have consequences for people, real emotionally damaging consequences. So I think it's going to be a big improvement. So here we have, I mirror the first card, the dog, this caretaking action really bearing very good fruit. So that's great. That's good to hear. And I'm curious to hear how this experiment goes for them moving forward. Uh, again, maybe there will be other countries around the world that will want to take a leaf from Australia's book. Australia also, by the way, being the first country to ban um, uh, red MAGA person Candace Owens from entering the country. New Zealand has followed suit. Good for them, because nobody's got time for that. Okay. Speaking of bans, the next thing I thought I would look at is the fact that there is a proposal on the table in the UK to ban tobacco and vaping products for sale to kids under 16. Now, you would think that that would be a no-brainer. Like, why would you sell tobacco and vaping products to kids who are younger than 16? But apparently, it's an issue. They're looking at banning it officially. But the issue's gotten a lot of blowback because people say that it's you know, a rights issue, personal rights issue. So I just would like to know, and you know what we'll use? We'll use the clouds for the focus card because the clouds will stand for smoke. Smart, right? Um, I want to see what will be the future. I don't like to say yes, no, because it's just too hard and fast, but I'd like to know what will be the future of this UK proposal to ban tobacco and vaping products for consumers or, people, children under 16. What will be the future of that proposed ban? Because it's just proposed. Okay, so just going to cut the deck. All right. And we're looking for clouds, and that's going to stand for smoke stuff, smoking apparatus. Okay. So here's the smoking paraphernalia. Here's the two cards that come before it, and the two cards that come after. Okay, and I'll probably draw some clarifiers. So let me just push these up. And I'm going to draw just a couple of clarifiers on the last three cards. Really interesting. So we have the scythe, we have the young man, we have clouds, we have the rider, and we have the bear. The scythe is the cutting out of the sales of these products. So that's apt, right? To young people under 16. In the center, what's being proposed to be banned? Smoking paraphernalia, smoking apparatus. And the rider is news coming in. So I'm asking, well, what is the news coming in? And the news coming in is, kids, we're the boss of you. This stuff's not good. And we're going to go on record as saying it's not good by prohibiting the sale of it. So I can mirror the scythe, which is a decision also, with the bear. The bear is the card also for mother. Remember the older woman came up before, and I said that felt very maternal as well. This does too. And this mom, don't play with her. Don't play with her. So I do think that this is the ban and this is the law being laid down. No, we're not going to sell this stuff to you. It will not be legal. Um, and I drew clarifiers on the clouds, the rider, and the bear, the final three cards. So here, this is the smoking ban, smoking sales stuff ban, um, and the ship and the ring. I think that this will pass. I do think this legislation will pass and that there will be a commitment to it, just like there's the commitment to banning social media for people under 16 in Australia. I do think that this will pass and stick. Um, so what is the news coming in? Well, it's very interesting, these clarifiers. We have the moon and we have the scale. I like this a lot too. Um, the moon is about the message that we send people. Well, this is the card for messages, right? What message do we want to communicate to the world and to our young people about who we are as a nation? This is the UK. And we want to give the impression, we want people to understand about us, reputation, that, we can right size things. We can balance things like, um, you know, um, I don't know, sales that will lose, right? Because you lose revenue if you don't sell to everybody that's willing to buy. But there are more important things than just the revenue, which is the health of our youth. And this is the message that we want to convey. I like that. And then with the bear, this is that tough mom that doesn't play. We have crossroads and tree. I like this too. This is the mom saying, the state saying, yeah, no, we're going to go another way. We're going to do things a different way than the way we've done them before. And why? For the sake of our children's health. Interesting. So I see that this will pass. Again, probably not received well by the under 16 population, but it's good medicine, just as no social media for under 16 is good medicine. And when people realize that they feel better, they'll be willing to take that maybe not good tasting medicine. So that was interesting to me. Okay. The next question I'd like to look at involves Mexico and the conversation that 45 recently had with Claudia Sheinbaum, who's the newly elected president of Mexico. And as you can imagine, 45 spun the conversation differently from the way that she spun it. What Claudia Scheinbaum says, and I'm saying Claudia, I'm pronouncing it in the way that you would if you were Spanish speaking. We would say Claudia here, but it's Claudia. Claudia Scheinbaum said that, well, 45, let's go with what he said first. He said, I told them, if you all don't straighten up and fly right and take all the immigrants back, I mean all the immigrants back, we're going to slap this 25% tariff on you and we don't care. And Claudia Scheinbaum said, well, that's not the nature of the conversation. That is not the nature of the conversation. We will continue to do what we do in regard to immigration. And, uh, if you come for us, Donald, we'll come for you. We know how to put tariffs up too. So we'll see how you like that. Now, I would like to know, as if I don't, I'm just saying, which was the truer version of the conversation? So I'm going to pull 3 cards for 45's version and then 3 cards for Scheinbaum's version. Because, who's telling the truth here? As if we can't guess. Okay, so this is 3 cards for 45's version of what happened, and then 3 cards for Scheinbaum's version of what happened. Card doesn't want to get picked up. Okay, these are really interesting cards. For 45, we get the scales, the bouquet, and the scythe. Here's what I think. 45 loves to be bombastic, meaning he talks a good game. We're going to show them, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. But, for example, in his business life, he didn't fire people. He had other people fire people for him. Apprentice impression notwithstanding. And so I suspect on this phone call, he was not at all, the tough guy. I think he took a very sort of balanced tone. I think he congratulated her on her win, and she congratulated him on his win. And the scythe, The scythe is a card for a decision. I think that it's important to remember about the scythe the fact that the blade is curved. And that means that, yeah, a scythe is an instrument that cuts, but because of the curve in the blade, it is also an instrument that gathers, right? If you were using this to cut grain, you would cut it with the blade, and then you would gather up the wheat in the curve of the blade and carry it over to the cart where it was going to be taken off to be processed, right? And I think 45 was trying to her face, or her ear, because it was a phone call. I think he was trying to win her over. That's what I think. Gather her in. Even though he told us that, oh, I really told her off. I don't think he did. Not with that bouquet there in the center, not with the scales card here. I think he tried to be charming and to sort of bring her in. Uh, Now, her perspective, we've got the moon, the ring, and the tower. I think she stood her ground, just as she did in the readout of the conversation, where she said, "Yeah, no, I just said what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and you put tariffs on me, I'll put tariffs on you." And he probably said, "Oh, Claudia, it doesn't have to be like that. Let's be friends." That's what he said. And she said, "You know what? We're Mexico. We're a proud people, and we are committed to being a proud people. You're not going to bend our spine." This is the card for the back. If you come to at us to try to bend our spine, watch. Watch what we'll be capable of. So that's what I think happened in that conversation. I think he tried to be conciliatory, to make it not sound so bad what he wants to do with these tariffs, to say, maybe you want to consider. I think he was conciliatory. I think his public readout of the conversation was, I was a tough guy. But the bouquet gives that away. That's not how it happened. I think if anybody was a tough guy in the conversation, it was she, Claudia Sheinbaum. Good for her. Okay. Now, to move back to the States, you know that, well, I don't know if you know, but Marco Rubio, who is the senator from Florida, he is the one who 45 would constantly make fun of and call him Little Marco. Well, anyway, Little Marco apparently is his choice for for what? Secretary of State. I'm just saying. And so this leaves the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, with the responsibility of filling that seat for the rest of Rubio's Senate term until there can be another election. So there's been speculation about what he would do to fill it. And, some people have said, oh, he could name himself DeSantis. He could name himself to the Senate seat. But people are saying, no, he's not going to do that. So the name that's being floated most sort of loudly, the quietly whispered, loudly whispered name for the to replace Rubio is Laura Trump. This is 45's daughter-in-law. This is the daughter-in-law who is the head of the Republican Party, the one who dispersed the funds for the Republican Party. And well, I'm not going to say what I think, well, I'm going to leave that part alone. So I just want to look at the chances of Laura Trump being named as Marco Rubio's replacement, should he be um, confirmed as the next Secretary of State. So I'm going to use the older woman card just because she's not that old, but I'm feeling like being mean. So we'll use the older woman card for Laura Trump, and let's look at her trajectory, uh, which is bound to be upward regardless because she came through for 45. But we want to know, will she be named as the interim senator from Florida once, or should Marco Rubio be elevated to Secretary of State? So we're looking for Laura Trump. She will stand for Laura Trump. Hate to do it to you, baby, but there you go. All right. Definitely need to draw clarifiers on this. Um, so we have the young woman, we have the heart, we have Laura Trump, we have the moon, and we have the young man. I'm going to say at the outset that, you know, she is inexperienced. That's this card. She's inexperienced, but 45 loves her because she delivered. She's in the middle here. And then we have the moon and the young man. There are going to be other people vying for this nomination. So 45 may want her, but there may be other people in Florida who will, be trying to sort of shoulder their way, elbow their way ahead of her, I think. So let's see what else we can find. We know we don't need to look at the younger woman in the heart. We know she's inexperienced. We know 45 loves her. But I'm going to just draw a couple of clarifiers on the woman, which is Laura Trump, the moon, and this young man card. Okay, interesting. So here's Laura Trump in the middle. We have the bouquet, and what would that stand for? Oh, maybe the reward for bringing, for, you know, what, filling up the coffers, 45's coffers, as head of the party. She will be rewarded. There's a mountain there. Will she be rewarded? I think one of the things that's going to be interesting and that we should bear in mind is that, yeah, 45 is absolutely going to run roughshod, try to run roughshod, but there will be times when he will be thwarted in that effort. Giving her that position may be one of those times. And I think that the person who will be the decider is DeSantis, the governor. Um, so I'm not sure about this. Now, here we have the moon, and the two clarifiers for that are 45 and the dog. Now, one of the cards for dog is sibling or cousin. You know what it's feeling to me like? That DeSantis may feel that it doesn't look good. Remember, this is reputation for 45 to be exercising nepotism. If you don't know what nepotism is, 45 is a case study in nepotism. Nepotism is the practice of putting your friends and relations in advantaged spots. So, for example, picking your daughter-in-law to be head of the party, you know, wanting your daughter-in-law to be the new senator from Florida. I suspect that DeSantis will say, I don't know if that's a good look for Florida. And then remember, I said we have this young man card at the end. This is for other people who are interested in that position, other Floridians who will feel that they will have earned the Senate spot. You know, and again, it's an interim spot, right, until there can be an election. I don't think we even know who all of those players are, because this is more than one person. And there will absolutely be infighting among them for that spot and fighting of Lara Trump for that spot. So, you know, especially with that mountain there, and especially with this nepotism card, I don't know that Lara Trump will be named that interim to that interim Senate position. I'm going to say no. Um, you know, 45 will find something else for her to do, but I think that DeSantis will be worried about what it looks like, and he's got, you know, other fish to fry politically himself. And I think there are other Floridians who are more, I don't know, experienced and of more gravitas and who are not related by marriage or blood to 45 who will want to lay claim to that job. So, you know, at some point soon, I am going to look at 45 and the Supreme Court because I'm very curious to see what that relationship with them will be with for him moving forward. But anyway, for now, I feel like that's enough. It's Thanksgiving weekend. I will be putting a video up on Sunday. It's another one of my Sunday conversation videos. If you'd like to do me a solid, I would like you to watch those. Um, you know, it's nice for me to get a break and to talk with someone else on my channel. If you have people that you think I'd like to talk with, send them along, send their names along in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. But I'm happy to do these predictive readings. I'm just going to do a different thing on Sundays, and it would be really doing me a favor if you would watch those videos as well. So look for me on Sunday for my conversation with the next friend that I have coming on, and I will see you next week when we'll do more predictive readings. Take care.